Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing today? Just got the music playing in the background until I hear my voice. Just my last little check to make sure that I'm actually audible. I have had a couple of occasions where I wasn't really able to be heard. I was talking away and either I'd left my mic on mute or something. So here we go. I've just appeared on screen, so now I will mute myself. How's everybody going then? So we've got Andy, we've got Blonde Scales 1, we've got Marie. Welcome all. Just give it another minute or so before we kick off. Hi Teresa. And I'm hoping today I've changed the way I'm doing my screen, so I'm hoping over on, I'll actually show you it. This is quite funny because I'm seeing myself on one screen as I am now, another screen as you're seeing me, and on the one where you're seeing me, hopefully I've got there the list of participants so I can see people as they appear, and I'm going to try and keep looking at that every so often. Good morning, Tom. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the stream. Let's go back to the camera. So, we'll make a start. So today I thought I'd do something slightly different than when I do my normal topic. It's like I'm cutting the top of my head off. There we are. I'll just move this. I'm using the webcam on the camera, not on the camera, on the computer, which is what I use each week for this. And it's just getting the screen positioned correctly. I'd love to be able to start using my iPhone, but I use that for my overhead shot. So we've got, let's look quickly in through the comments before I make a start. So Andy, make sure this appears. There we go. Welcome, Andy. So we've got Marie from Michigan. We've got Blonde Scales 1 from Arkansas. We've got Teresa from, hi Teresa. And then we've got Tom, who's from Georgia. So quite a lot of the US hopefully represented at the moment. So today what I thought I'd do, rather than doing a pen topic, I'd just really talk about what's been going on at the moment. You know, what I'm doing when I'm not doing fountain pen stuff, which to be honest isn't a lot. So one of my hobbies is, well, not hobbies, one of my passions. And I'm even more passionate about it than I am about fountain pens, to be honest. And that's... Why am I getting pop-ups? I don't know. Never worked with technology. Anyway, my passion is software development. From being really young, and I know I've told this story before, it was actually Star Trek. I know the past few weeks we've talked a bit about Star Trek Strange and New Worlds. From being a kid, I've loved Star Trek. And I wanted to be like Mr. Spock, you know. And to me, that was the dream. That was what I wanted. So that really took me down the IT route. It actually does suit my personality as well. I try and think quite logically about things. I keep saying to my wife, she's quite funny because if she wants something, she drops little hints. You know, so say we're watching TV on an evening and she wants something from the kitchen. She won't say, can you go and get this? You know, she won't say, maybe go and get me a bar of chocolate. What she'll say is, if you're going anywhere near the kitchen, will you let me know? Ask me. You know, my logical brain doesn't deal with hints. I like to be said, do this, do this, do this. Just say to me straight out. So I wanted to be like Mr. Spock. And so my background, as I say, is IT. And I was lucky that, say my mind was able to work with it. So that's what essentially my profession is as well. And again, my wife, she keeps saying that I'm the only person that she knows who can spend all day at work working on computers, programming, and then come home and quite happily spend all evening and all weekend doing the same thing, working on code, but, obviously on personal projects. So, as I say, I've been working a lot on a number of personal projects. One of them is the app that I've already got out there, and I've showed you running on my Mac a few weeks ago. That's my pen list, which is what I use for keeping track of my pens, my inks, my what's inked up. So that was one thing I wrote because it was two interests matching. So I've been playing around now with another app. I'm forever trying different apps out and I prototype them. So what I do, whenever I have an idea, I'm willing to spend 2, maybe 3 weeks to try and get something up and running, to see what it's like. And then if I'm enjoying it, if I can see some use for it, I'll carry on. If not, I'll just dump it and I'll move on to something else. But I still keep them prototypes around because sometimes you go and dip in and have a look, maybe even pick one up again if it piques your interest again. So the app or the project that I'm working on now, the prototype, is for tracking what I watch on TV. Now, there's an app out there or an internet service called Trakt, T-R-A-K-T. And that lets you, do this tracking. But it's got an API, what's called an application programming interface. So you can talk to it from your own app. And there are a number of different apps out there that use this Trakt service as their data store. And what I'm finding with it is none of them quite give me what I want. So I thought, let's have a look and let's see if I can make one myself. So that's something that I'm working on. Now, I do have a request for anybody watching this video. I'm fairly new to using these APIs and I'm actually stuck. I've been working now for about 3 days. Well, I'm saying 3 days. It's 3 days, but it's only like maybe 1 or 2 hours a day because obviously I've got other things that I'm doing. So if anybody out there is into Swift development and has knowledge of APIs, where I'm actually struggling with, I know it's very technical, so most people you just go straight over your head, JSON decoder. I'd love if you can spare me some time if we can have a chat, just so I can pick your brain, because I know what I'm doing is going to be really, really stupid, really, really simple, but I'm just banging my head against a brick wall at the moment. So please, anybody out there, please reach out. I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to make connections anyway. Let's go back to the comments. So, unhealthy levels of Matt. Hello all. Welcome to you. Inertia 4. Hello from Brooklyn. Teresa is in North Carolina. Hi Marilyn, welcome back to the lives. Marilyn, me too. I'm thinking that's to do with the Star Trek comment. Blonde Scales 1, lol. Yeah. Andy, do you know this is playing me up today? Never work with technology. I keep telling that to my son. It's just for some reason it's given me a pop-up every time I click. Never mind, we'll get there. So we've got Andy, there we go. Andy, one of my other hobbies is music, planning on making it an occupation. I think this is where one of the really good things, if you can take a hobby and make that into your occupation. I say, for me, programming, and, I can't even remember how old I am. Anyway, I'm well into my 50s, and I'm still excited to sit down and program. And when I'm doing it, everything else just vanishes. It's not just an interest, it's my passion. And I think if you can do that, it's such a brilliant thing. Blonde Scales 1, if you look at the pic by my name, you'll see one of mine. Those are a bunch of paper beads that I made. I can't... Oh, let me... Old man eyes, I'm just going to get a bit closer to the screen. Do you know, I love seeing craft stuff like this. My wife's a bit crafty. You could take that 2 ways, really. She's crafty as in she's a bit of a crafty cow, but she's crafty as in, she does craft stuff. I just can't make anything with my hands. All the power tools in the house are not mine, though, the wife's. I can tell her how to do it. I can tell her exactly how to make something. I just can't do it. I don't know what it is. There's just something about my brain to my hands just does not work. Give me some programming stuff and there's not much I can't do with my, I use Mac, but I've worked on all sorts of different systems in the past. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I introduced it. Today's mug is Spider-Man, and I've got my usual peppermint tea. I was having a discussion with my son just before this started when I was making my drink, and he was saying, why do you call it tea? Because you don't put milk in it. And he was trying to figure out, he always assumes that with tea, as you'd have milk, but I was saying to him, no, it's not really a tea. It's more like a herbal infusion, and it's just called a tea because it's simpler. People understand that. So that was quite an interesting conversation I had with him. Okay, let's carry on. So another thing and I'd like to get people's feedback on this. On Mastodon, which is a social networking system, a bit like Twitter. Nowadays with Twitter, I don't post anything. I'll still read it once or twice a day. I don't like the direction that the new owner's taken. I think it's wrong. So there's Mastodon, which is an open source, alternate to Twitter. Very good, really like Mastodon. Got to have a little bit of knowledge to get into it. This is the downside. Because unlike Twitter, where you just to create an account, just put in your name and create a password, Mastodon, you have to find a server as well. So it's got a little bit extra work to get logged into it. I enjoy Mastodon. I pop in and out of Mastodon all the time. But on there, when I posted my video from Tuesday, so like I do onto Facebook, onto Instagram, I obviously put a link saying, here's today's video, just to try and spread a bit of knowledge about it, not just relying on YouTube to do that. But somebody replied to me, about it, and I thought it's an interesting thing to talk about. So the subject of Tuesday's video, it was my top 5 pens, not from mainland China. And this person was saying, essentially, you shouldn't use the phrase mainland China because it's political, because of all the political things. Now, I deliberately chose that title because there was a pen from Taiwan. There was a TWSBI pen, the TWSBI Eco, actually. And so this is where I used the phrase mainland China because obviously I'm aware of all the political stuff around Taiwan and China saying that Taiwan belongs to it, and Taiwan actually saying at times, I don't know if they do anymore, that what I'm calling mainland China belongs to Taiwan. So Taiwan is the Republic of China. That's its official name. The China, the official name is the People's Republic of China. And many, many, many years ago, they were one entity, but then there was a split. And this is where all the politics come from. And this is where, Taiwan's, there's a lot of international issues about, well, will China invade Taiwan and take it back over? A bit like what Russia's trying to do with the Ukraine. So this person, I'm going to say person, I don't know if it was male or female, was saying, you shouldn't use mainland China because it's political. And so I went back and said, well, look, the reason I use mainland China is I wanted a way to describe this China, but without Taiwan. And if I use the phrase China, I say some people may think that includes Taiwan. And I have had from a video about 18 months ago, somebody who was actually very rude about it, because the way that video then, I said Taiwan is not China. And they were really, so I can see where they're coming from. And that's why I thought, I need something to describe what I would, as I say, I'm calling it mainland China. So this is the main part of China itself. I looked through the list of countries that Apple has. So Apple has a list of countries that you can choose from. When you're writing code, it's got it built in, so you don't have to build the country list yourself. And in there, it calls it mainland China. So I thought, brilliant. If Apple calls it mainland China, I'll get away with calling it mainland China. And this person came back and said, look, mainland China is used because it's actually used just to exclude, I think it was Hong Kong and Macau. I may be wrong with the second one, but the first one was Hong Kong. And, we had quite a back and forth about it. So what are your thoughts on how we should be describing, these pens that coming from China, from mainland China? Because to me, if I say China itself, that includes Taiwan. Whereas mainland China is just that main part of it. What are your thoughts? I've got a few videos recorded where I've already used the term mainland China, but I'd love to find out what the consensus is about how do we refer to them. Okay, so hopefully my things have just refreshed. Okay, Marilyn. I don't know. Do you know this bloody stupid? Sorry, I shouldn't use rude words, should I? This stupid thing, Marilyn. I put all my photos on Instagram, and what I don't put on there, I put the rest on Discord. Which disc is that? Your own Discord, Marilyn? I've thought about, for my members, all 2 of them at the moment, creating a Discord, but there's that many out there that I sometimes wonder if it's worth it. So I'd love to know how you're doing that. Are you using another one or your own? Tom, professional mathematician and amateur musician. Do you know, I've got a lot of respect for mathematicians because, you know, you see all these equations on TV, and I'd love to know, how realistic is it? Do you spend all the time like with equations? There's one I watch from the UK. What's his name? Tom Rocks Maths, I think it is his YouTube channel. I believe he's I don't think it's a professor. I think he's a lecturer at, I want to say Cambridge, but it could be Oxford. It's one or the other. I know that he did say he got his doctorate from one university, and then, you know, one of them, and he works at the other one now. And some of the stuff, I love watching them, but it goes right over my head, some of the stuff that they do. Blonde scales, some of my ink samples end in various craft things. We did get some ink about a year ago now, which my wife was going to use in some Pilot Parallels pens with some of her craft stuff, but she's never used it. So I'm having to force myself, I'm forcing myself to use it. Ricardo, welcome to you. Marilyn, do you know, this is really annoying me because the way it's put in this thing, I can hardly read the messages. Let me go back here. I would use the word Asia, so that way people kind of know that this is a major part of the world. This is the major part of the world it's from. Yep, that's a good idea. That's Asia. Chaz, welcome from Florida. Been watching live feeds and thank you. I love hearing. I absolutely love hearing feedback. Good advice and helpful for fountain pen lovers. One of the things when I started my channel, obviously I've watched loads of other channels. One of the things when I started this is I wanted to try and avoid technical stuff, which is one of the things I do try and avoid, and sometimes I slip into that because, you know, I know when I was first watching it, I think it was somebody said shimming the feed, and I was thinking, what? So I tried with my channel to like avoid that. I also tried to look a lot at less expensive pens because, you know, at the end of the day, and I know I keep saying this, as long as the pen lets me get ideas out of my head and onto paper in a way I enjoy, it's a good pen. So that's one of the things. But thank you for that feedback. Chaz, mainland China for continental. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, which is why I used that. Chaz, Taiwan is the name of the country. Chaz, Hong Kong is loosely autonomous. I can remember many years ago, when the UK handed Hong Kong back to China. I know there was lots of stuff that I can remember that. Blonde scales, sometimes you need to use a politically incorrect term to be geographically correct. Yeah, completely agree with that. You may have noticed I'm not exactly a politically correct person. You know, if I think something, I'll say it. You know, I try to be polite about it. I think politeness is important. But, you know, if I don't like something, I'll just say, no, I don't like that. You know, whereas, you know, I see some stuff where, you know, it's like a good example. I mean, again, talk about when my kid was young. He loved sports. And a lot of the people on his team, if they didn't win, they were absolutely horrible. They were really, really bad losers. And I remember saying to my son, I said, they're all a bunch of plonkers, because what matters isn't that you win, isn't that you lose. What matters is you're taking part and you're having fun. And I got very, very staring looks from a lot of the parents as if to say, no, the only thing that is important is you win, and it's not. It's having fun. So yeah, I like being polite. I don't so much agree with political correctness. Marilyn, it's their own Discord server, well worth it. Chaz, that's how we say it in the States, been coming back to the mainland China. So Marilyn, then again, I'm the only one on my Discord at the moment, and then I'm just going to jump ahead, I think, somewhere down here. Marilyn's put the name of the channel. Do you know, I hate this. Here we are. It's Marilyn Darling Show, if anybody wants to see it. So why not head on over there? Obviously not now, but after we finish the live, and join Marilyn over there. Tom, don't think there's a good solution. Mainland China, however, would be understood by a lot of people. Again, that's part of the reason why I used it. As I said, this is why I like to get this idea of, what other people are thinking. Marilyn likes Discord. I say I've never really tried. I'm on. I like Slack, so I'm on obviously the fountain pen addict or whatever it is Slack channel. I like that. That's something I pop into 2 or 3 times a day. There is an Australian fountain pen Discord that I'm on. Don't really post in it. I more read that. Oh, my poor throat today. Teresa, you could just say Chinese pens. Yeah, I thought that as well. I do agree. That's 9 times out of 10. I've got to be honest. That's what I'd just say is a Chinese pen. It was just this person. I want to say about 18 months ago, and they were extremely rude about it, saying that if I've got a Taiwanese or a pen from Taiwan, that I should also call that a Chinese pen. And to me, it's not. And it's all this political stuff. We've got a nice smiley face there. Chaz, thanks for the mention. I'd like to go through, and one of the things I enjoy with this is I go through every single comment that is added, or is a comment, whatever, everything that goes into the live chat. And I try to talk about each one and respond. Sometimes, if there's not a lot I can say, I will do it quickly. But I think it's important. Someone's taken the time to put an entry into the chat. And I think it's very important that, I answer that. For Chinese pens, for just say China, and Twisby or Laban, just say Taiwan. That's what I do anyway. It was just, I was trying to avoid some of that. Oh, pardon me, I've got a touch of wind as well. I was just trying to avoid some of the issues that I ended up getting. Chaz, that'll be $5, please. Love it. And we got Blonde Scales 1. Once you hit your 50s, you don't care about politically correct as much. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I say, to me, politeness is what matters. If you can't be polite, keep your mouth shut. I know I'm being very naive with saying that, but that's very much the way I feel. And, if something's yellow, say it's yellow. Don't say it's mustard. Mustard's not a colour. Yellow's a colour. Sorry, I know I'm going off again. Welcome, Will. Never worry about being late. Yeah, you've missed Garry having little mini rants today. Marilyn is here. We've got an update. The name is Miss Marilyn Darling. So I'll leave that up there on the screen so people can hopefully jot that down and join you later. Where's my pen gone? I don't know. I've got that many pens, but nothing to write with. I'm just going to make a note of it myself. If I don't write things down, then it goes out of my head and I forget all about it. That's I think one of the downsides of being old now. Okay, so I've gone through. let's swap on over and look at the pens I've been using this week. So I move on over to my camera. I remember to swap over there. So the paper I use, this is the same paper I use each week. It's a Midori. It's the cotton pad, so it's the paper with cotton fibres in it. So the pens I've been using this week.
Get that? Could you try again?
Siri wants me to repeat what I've just said. Well, she can keep wanting. So the first pen I used this week, this was from Sunday, the D-Like New Moon, or New Moon 2. I believe this is, I don't know if it's been bought by Marjon or if it was owned by Marjon anyway. But when I was looking on AliExpress for updated pricing, because I've had this a couple of years, it's no longer called a D-Like New Moon 2, but I could only find it as a Marjon New Moon 2. I love this. It's like I think the pattern's called Dark Rose. Very nice. This reminds me a lot. I'm just going to pull it out because I've got this for another. Reminds me a little bit of the Sailor. Well, I'm saying my Sailor Pro Gear Slim. I don't have a Sailor Pro Gear, but they look very similar to me in terms of the shape and design. And I'm actually planning a video. Not sure when. I might be filming it in a month. I may film it. I'll try and talk today. I may film it in a month or two to actually compare the two of them as like a showdown video. So we've got here a D-Like New Moon 2. Nice pen to write with this. Do you know, for some reason, I've taken off all my nib sizes. I'm going to say it's medium. It might be fine. And the ink was Lamy Crystal Beryl. Actually, we'll go on to the new line. Lamy Crystal. And it's Beryl. And this is 18 Aussie dollars. I say it's a nice pen. Small nib on it. Steel nibbed. And this is a cartridge converter. The second pen that I use, so Monday's pen, and strange enough, the actual pen I'm using today, this is the Narwhal Skullkill in Paul Peter Navy. I love these pens, they are so nice. I think it's such a nice pen, it's nice to use, it's a nice fit in my hand. Very comfortable. The ink, it's a piston filling pen, the ink lasts and lasts and lasts in this. There is still, I'm trying to get the ink window. There, you can see the ink window, so there's not a lot of ink in here. What I'm going to do is, after I finish using this today, I'm going to clean it out. It's been inked up for about 3 months, and I think it's time to give it a good clean and give it a rest. So this is the Narwhal Skullkill. It's got a medium nib. It's the Narwhal nib on here. Easy to change the nibs. I've got another Skullkill where I've got a broad Yoho nib on it. Wow, it's such a nice writer. This is now about 92 Aussie dollars to buy. And the ink is Noodler's Navajo Turquoise. Tuesday's pen is by Platypus, so this is an Australian maker. He does 3D printed pens. This is the Model 10. It's got a lovely, like a herringbone type pattern. Hopefully you can see that now on the screen. Very, very nice pen. This pattern here, oh sorry, this herringbone, you can feel it when you're writing, so it gives it like a tactile feel. Very nice. It's got loads of different colours available, and when you order it, you know, you work with him and pick the colour combination you want. Cartridge converter. I don't know if I'd try it, but everything's 3D printed, so everything's resin. So I wonder if it might be something you could possibly think about eyedroppering, but I don't intend to. Not a lot of ink, well, not a lot of ink as in no ink, because this finished, so it's been cleaned out. And this is ready to go away. It's a nice pen. I've got a Yoho nib on there, broad nib, beautiful writing pen. Next up, this is the Pelikan M205. This beautiful blue colour. Just look at the way that reflects the light. Got a broad Pelikan nib. It's a steel nib. I love the way this pen writes. The nib, it's absolutely gorgeous. So this is the Pelikan, or Pelikan M205. It's got the broad nib. And this is, when I got it, which was earlier this year, it was 152 Aussie dollars. I got it from Cult Pens. The ink by Diamine, and it's royal blue. Now, apparently there is an ink window on here. I really struggled to see it. I think it might be there, but because there's ink in there, I'm really struggling. So what I need to do is wait till this is out of ink. It's a piston filling pen. It takes a lot of ink. Then I can give it a good clean and see if I can find where the ink window is for the future. Thursday's pen, it was the Waterman Karen. Absolutely love this pen. It's so pretty to look at. It's an elegant pen, and I've just done earlier this week, I filmed a fountain pen focus on it, and I keep saying in there it's elegant, and that's what this pen exudes. It exudes elegance. It's got that inlaid nib, beautiful nib, and again cartridge converter. Now the ink I had in here on Thursday was Diamine Ox Blood. I've since cleaned it out and I've put a different ink in it, which you'll find out in a couple of weeks when I do my pens in use for next month, what the reason why I've picked that pen and that ink. But this is the Waterman Karen. Medium nib, and it's 18 karat gold. The cost of this, I'm going to give you the cost that I saw to buy it now from Cult Pens from Australia. 400 Aussie dollars. The ink by Diamine, and it's Earl Grey. Some of you may already be saying, I know why that's been done. I'll say you'll find out in a couple of weeks when I do my pens in use video. So that's the Waterman Karen. Friday, I went for a Pilot pen, so I thought of my Pilot Custom Heritage 92. Again, it's beautiful. So we've got here piston filling pen as well. And again, we've got a gold nib on this. This is only 14 karat gold, and it's I believe it's rhodium plated. So we've got here a Pilot Custom, and this is a problem I've been getting with it. If I give it a shake, Heritage 92, and it's got a medium 14 karat gold nib, and the cost of this, I've only got the cost when I got it about 2 years ago, it's 270 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Van Diemen, which is a manufacturer in Tasmania. Van Diemen. I can't spell today. Demon. Apple Island Green. So when I was using it on, what day was it? Friday. I was having awful problems. As we saw here, it would just stop writing. There's some kind of ink flow issue. So what I did on Friday is I actually pulled the nib and feed. Really easy to do that. So I pulled them out and I passed them and gave them a run through my ultrasonic cleaner, thinking maybe there might be some dried ink in there which is blocking the feed. That doesn't seem to have caused the issue because we still had a problem here. So I need to look at this a bit further. The ink's been in here quite a while. I haven't used this pen very much. So I'm wondering if maybe the issue might be because the ink's been in there for so long, a lot of the water has evaporated from the ink, so it's actually too viscous, too thick. So that's just something that I need to look at. Yesterday's pen was the Hongdian 960. This is one of those cheap mainland China models. got this in the video. I can't remember if it's done out yet, where I compared it against things like the Jinhao 100, the Kaigaloo 316, and the Monte Grappa Durograph, or Monteverde Durograph. I can't remember. Do you know my pearl brain? So all the duofold style pens, because this very much reminds me of that. The cap's a bit different though. Fountain pen. Obviously it's a fountain pen. Not a lot of ink left in this. This is another one that'll be going out after I've actually finished this video. It'll go into the pot for cleaning when I next have a cleaning session. So we've got in here a Hongdian 960. Fine nib. It's a very, very stiff nib. Cost wise, we're looking at 35 Aussie dollars for this. And the ink is Lamy Crystal Rhodonite or Rhodonite. Quite a nice ink colour this. It's an unusual colour, not a colour I would normally use. But I thought, we've got a black pen, so I can use any colour. And that's why I went for that. And as I say, today, I'm using again that Narwhal Schuylkill. So that's the pens and inks I've been using this week. Let's squeezing over and go back to the comments. Will, I'm completely with you. I don't care if my chopsticks are made in China or Taiwan. All I care about is, do they do what I want? I mean, I know, I say this all the time. I'm sat at my desk. I've got my MacBook made in China, my iPad made in China, my iPhone, which is what I use for that down shot, made in China, my screens made in China, my clothes mainly made in China. I think some even from Korea. I don't care as long as it does what I want it to do. Chaz, we defeated the Access powers for the right to be polite. I love that. I used to love, again, I know I'm going on an aside. When I was in school, I did, in the UK at that time, it was what was called an O-level. And one of the O-levels I did was in modern history. So that was history going up to the end of the Second World War. I did a little bit of 50s and 60s, so a little bit about the Cold War as well. Absolutely loved history. I think if I hadn't have been so passionate about IT, history would have been the thing that really pulled me. Mustard, let's be silly. Yeah. Lemon, that's different. I don't know. Maybe it's again the way my more logical brain works. But, the colours I see, you've got red, you've got yellow, blue, green. I'll give you turquoise and teal because, but turquoise to me is still blue. Teal, it's like mixed between green and blue. You got other colours, that are acceptable names: pink, purple, grey. But cerise. What the heck is a cerise? I mean, sorry, I'm going off on a rant. I will. Yeah, don't worry about being rude. I've got a son, so I'm used to being rude. Marilyn lol. Marilyn, hi, Will Hodge. Chaz, let's support Australian pens. Absolutely. This year, up till this year, my focus has been on really building a pen collection. So I've got a lot of, obviously, Chinese pens. I've got a load of Taiwanese pens. I've got a lot of the big names. So I've got a Pilot Aero, Diplomat Aero. I've got some Pilots. Start of this year, actually ordered it last year, was that Pelican. This year, what I've done is I'm now focusing my purchases. So this year, the vast majority of my pens purchases are Australian pens. So I've got the Platypus that I showed you earlier. I've got, this is a Just Turnings pen, Brooks Blanks material, Golden Blue Jay, beautiful pen. This is a pen, it's a kit pen, but I bought it from a maker in Fremantle Market. He makes the resin. Absolutely beautiful. I'll talk about that again in a couple of minutes. I've got an order in with another maker called Pens by Casey, I think it is, for the material that he's shown me. Wow, it's beautiful. I can't wait to see the pen that he makes from that. I've got budget for another pen, which I'm looking at, another Just Turnings pen. I just haven't seen one that I like yet, so that will be one of the ones I'll be looking at hopefully next couple of weeks ordering. Then when I get my next YouTube payment, which I'm guessing is going to be the end of next month, I generally seem to get a YouTube payment every couple of months, but that is going to be allocated to buying a pen from a maker called, I think it's That Pen Bloke, or it could be A Pen Bloke. He's based over in Sydney, I think. I've seen some of his pens. I like the look of them, so that's what that's earmarked for. So this year it's been all about focusing on Australian pens. And, you know, I have done one China order, which was about a month ago, and I've just finished receiving the pens. But they've been snaffled, most of those, by my wife. So, yeah, definitely support Australian pens. Later on this year, I'll be starting to look at what my focus will be next year. It will be different. It won't be Australian pens. You know, it might be pens from one manufacturer, I don't know. Or it might even be saving up money to get a super expensive pen that I would never dream of getting. Will Hodge, let me just go up. Was sad to see Blackstone ink go away. Not seen them. I know there was an ink maker at the start of the pandemic that went away from Brisbane. I can't remember the name of it, but there were some inks I was thinking, I'll have to get some of them, and then they went. I don't know if they went bust or if it just wasn't worth their time to carry on. Teresa wants the Pelican M800 in clear green. Be saving up for that one. Yeah, I'd love to get one of the more expensive ones. The problem that I find with the M205, for me, it's too thin and it's just that bit too small. I have to use it posted. I'd love a slightly wider version, and I'm thinking maybe an M800 would be ideal. Marie loves Diamine Earl Grey. Yeah, I really like it. It's an ink. I'd rather use Earl Grey than black. I do have a pen, I think I showed it last week, inked up with black, but yeah, I like Earl Grey. It's really nice. BJ, good evening. Welcome. Chris Robinson, don't get on with green inks. This Van Diemen Apple Island Green, I've really struggled to find a pen that it will work in. I thought I'd found it with this Pilot, because for two fills it worked perfectly. But now, I don't know. That's why I'm thinking this might be a pen I need to clean out. And what I'll do is put a Pilot or a Shizuku ink. I've got a choice. I've got either Momiji or Shinryoku. I'm just wondering if that could be the issue. As I say, it just seemed, it's such a shame. And I think it's because it's been sat there. Will, good cleaning and flossing. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that again. This time, though, I'm going to get rid of the ink. Now I know how easy it is to pull the nib and feed out on this. I'll be doing that more often rather than trying, the up and up. I'll just take out the nib and feed and clean the actual body itself a lot easier. And then, yeah, I'll say I'll give it another pass through my ultrasonic, because I do find that gets a deeper clean. Chris, have you tried some olive greens? I love the Noodler's Army, which is a nice olive green. Another olivey type green is Rohrer and Klinger Alt Goldgrün. I've only got a sample of that. I like that. But green's my favourite colour, so that's why I'm quite happy with greens. Chris, try Diamine Kelly Green and Emerald. Got some black green on the way. One of the greens I like, it's a Diamine made ink, but it's Colt Pens branded. I love Colt Pens Deep Dark Green. That's a really nice colour. I've got that in a pen at the moment. Which one's it in? I can't remember. Let me just have a quick look through here, see if I can spot it. No, I haven't got it. I know where I can might be able to show you it. I'm going to switch over to the screen. So this is something called Obsidian. I use it for my knowledge management system. In here I've got, as you can see, I've got most of my inks. And if I go to deep dark green, so here, it's in the pen BBS 308. So if I click on that, you can hopefully get an idea there from the picture. It's a nice, it's not a bright green. It's got like a lot of dustiness to it. I really enjoy using it. It's a nice ink. Let's go back to the camera. Chris, I've got a green black and it's really nice. That's from Marie. Chris, yes, I think I might like darker greens. Will, only keep 5 or 6 pens inked all the time, then rotate them out. Just sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks. If I wasn't doing videos, I would be very similar. I would have essentially my 6 pens, which is what I have each month. But because I do the videos, that's why I end up with lots of pens inked up, because I do use them in different videos. Oh gosh, let's go here. Big thank you to Chaz. I've just noticed from one of my other streams. Thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated. Teresa, absolutely loving Hondian N8 Maple Leaf. The medium nib writes as well as... there we go. The medium nib that writes as well as any Schmidt nib. I've got the Flying Feathers, the white version. Why it's very easy to get hold of is tomorrow I'm actually filming my pens in use for next month. This is one of them. So you've seen 2, you've seen that, and you've seen the Waterman Karen. Chaz work in England doing World War II research. Wow, that would be so interesting. If it's not too hard to share, whereabouts in England are you based? So I grew up in a town called Scarborough, which is in North Yorkshire. Then obviously I moved around a bit. I went to university in Middlesbrough. My first job, where I met my wife, was in a place called Telford. I had a little bit of time in Gloucester. Really like Gloucester. It's one of the old cities. Gloucester Cathedral. Oh, it's really pretty. Gloucester, we moved to a place called Mitcham, which is essentially a suburb of London. Then from there, we moved to a place called Selby up in North Yorkshire, a little market town. Again, very historic place. Absolutely loved it living there. I was able to work from home a lot, so that was perfect. And then I was actually working, when I was going into the office, I was in London. So I would spend, a couple of hours each way on the train. There was a direct train from where I lived straight into London King's Cross. And then it was just on the tube to get to the office. Chaz, history made me love research. Yeah, I think history is so... It's one of those things, I don't know, maybe it's one of those things, I know at my age, but I wonder if there's some kind of online course I could try, like to try and get maybe a second degree, but in history, that'd be interesting to think about. Tom loves Diamine Green Black. Not tried it, so be interesting to try that. Chaz going to try it out. Chris is going to try out that Diamine Green Black as well. Yeah, I've not tried that. That's one, I'll have to add that to the list. Marilyn, everybody loves Olive Swirl and Dusted Truffle. I'm not a fan. I like the green colour in Olive Swirl. I used it in my Monteverde Ritma, but I found that it clogs the feed very easily. So I stopped using that. Dusted Truffle, yeah, I'm with you there. It's all right, but it's not really one that I would call is my favourites. Will have gotten a kick of buying pens from small pen turners. Kike Green, is it? Kike Green is a great one. We'll build a pen, whatever size and finish you like. Is that an Australian one? Can you send me a URL or something that I can use to get to it? I will write it down. So Got loads of homework today. Kike Green. Oh, so just kicked the camera. Oh, Mike Green. Sorry, I better change that. Mike Green. I will have a bit of a Google on that. So Will's got 3 from him and 2 from Jen Hines. I've seen some of the Hines pens on one of, is it Mike Matheson, when he goes to the pen shows. Chaz, haven't got over my Ox Blood phase. Yeah, I love Ox Blood. I've got it in 2 or 3 pens at the moment. Ricardo, like green inks. Do you know, I've never tried Emerald of Chivor. I keep seeing it and I keep thinking, yeah, it looks all right, but I don't know. Maybe it's one I need to see in person. It doesn't really matter at the moment because the wife's got me on an ink buying freeze because I've got so many inks. It's unbelievable. Chris likes to swap between Ox Blood and Red Dragon. So I filmed it. I'm not sure if it's gone out yet or if it'll be going out soon. I think it goes out. No, it'll be going out soon. I've done a comparison between Diamine Red Dragon and Diamine Spiced Apple, which was one of the Inkvent inks. Quite interesting because I think the base colour is very, very similar. So I think I've already called this out. Thank you very much to Chaz for that super chat. Or I'm not sure if it's stupid or is it a sticker. I can never tell with these words that YouTube call them. Chaz, you may never get over Ox Blood. I haven't. It's a beautiful colour. It's really nice. Blonde Scales 1, I've got a few of the deep dark inks. Do you know what I like? I've got in a video coming up soon that I say it's the name that I love. Deep dark green. I mean, it's so, it's just the way it really triggers me. Chaz, look at English Rose. Yeah, I've looked at these again. I'm not allowed to buy anymore at the moment, but I like the look of is it Black Swan in Australian roses and Black Swan in English roses. I like the idea of the Australian one because where we go for a walk, if we go for a walk in an evening, there's a lagoon and there's 2 pairs of swans on there, and over here in Australia, the swans are black swans. So to me, it's just the name that, Black Swan and then roses. Inertia 4. Most of my fountain pens are Jinhaos, all Chinese. I do have other pens from other companies as well. But as you say, I don't care where the pen comes from, as long as it writes. Completely with you there. I will mention it again shortly, but coming out Sunday next week, I've got a video where I look at 5 cheap Jinhao pens. I really enjoyed doing that. It's all been filmed. Tom Morley, the whole Diamond Cult Pens Dart series is great. I say I've only got the green one, but absolutely love it. It's just got that. It's green, but it's got a bit of character to it. It's not like a bright green. I think sometimes bright greens, they can be a little bit, too in your face. Chaz, thanks, man. Feeling obsessed. Yeah, I think most people on here are obsessed in one way. Chaz, thank you. Besides, I don't mess with Australians. Glad we're allies. Yeah. I've got to be honest, best thing I did when I moved to Australia. Absolutely love it. It's, obviously it's warm, but the culture is just so laid back. It's amazing. Chaz is in Salisbury, live in the States, but travel there all the time. Cool. So nearest I've been to Salisbury many, 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 many years ago, obviously. We were going on holiday. We lived in Mitcham and we were going on holiday to, I think it's Minehead. We were actually going to Butlins. I love Butlins. It's one thing I wish they had over here is a Butlins. And as we were driving along and as we were driving, suddenly on the, I can't remember, right-hand side of the car, what did we see but Stonehenge? I was gobsmacked. I didn't realise we were going past Stonehenge. So on the way back, we left earlier than what we were going to. We normally don't leave till the afternoon, but we left in the morning. We stopped off at Stonehenge. Absolutely amazing place, really is. I wish we'd have had more time so we could have actually gone overnight, went to Avery and places like that as well. But Stonehenge is such an amazing place. I mean, you see it on TV, but you can't really appreciate the scale until you get there and see it. BJ, it's one of the few inks I've had to buy a second bottle of. Yeah. Chaz knows Gloucester. Chaz loves Yorkshire, wrote a story about Yorkshire. Cool. Is that on the internet somewhere? If so, can you share it so I can have a read? Obviously, I love reading and watching stuff about Yorkshire because, that's my home. That's where I'm from. Will Hodge, been experimenting with a few sailor inks. Don't know what's going to come out of my mouth now. Euromecca series. They are what I would call muted inks, but multichromatic, very interesting inks. I've not tried any sailor inks yet. I don't know what it is about them. Just not really being one which I can say they've jumped out. Chaz, Exeter Uni has one. BJ, Oxblood in a stub nib is beautiful. I haven't tried it in a stub. I might do that. I do. I've got the red dragon that I've just done this test against. I do have that in a stub nib at the moment. Ricardo lives in Leighton, London, and I like history. I've driven through Leighton quite a lot. My brother-in-law, he grew up around the area. And, whenever we were driving through it with him, the stories he used to tell, he was in the police. Really interesting. Chaz, hi, Ricardo. Chaz, oh, yes, BJ. Ricardo, hi. Chris Robinson, got some army green on the way as well. Did look at the English rose. BJ, Oxblood, Red Dragon, and Ancient Copper, the Powerhouse 3 reds. One end of the saturation range to the other. Yeah, I've got all 3 of those. The one I don't use often at the moment is Ancient Copper. I need to fix that. I normally use that actually in the Leica pen. I just wanted something different this time, so maybe I need to get some Ancient Copper in that again. Chaz, no, just read. Yeah, please, would love to read it. Thanks very much. Not sure if my email comes through. I don't mind sharing my email with people. I'm just going to put it in the chat. If I can type properly. Can't type today. Can't type, can't speak, can't write. There you go. There's my email. I don't mind sharing that. Love to get emails. Might take me a few weeks to read them sometimes, but I do get round to them. BJ, Ancient Copper is a red shade in ink, one of my favourites in a broad pen, or in a brass pen, sorry. Chaz, brilliant. Some plonker called Garry Eves. Will, Diamond Bilberry. Now, where did I see that? Was it Penultimate Dave was using that recently? I think he said he called it like a blurple. And Teresa, Sailor Manio, word beginning with an A. And Sailor Manio, oh my God, Nadeshiko. I can vouch for them, well-behaved, pretty inks. I'm really struggling today. Okay, whilst I wait to see if any more comments come in. So last week's videos, we had on Sunday last week was my August inked pens. Very long video, about 51 minutes. But that was all the pens that I've got ink in it at the moment, just as I was going through them. And I used to do that, well, I've always done that once a month. And that's a way I can tell if I've got a problem with a pen, because sometimes they'll sit there a month between uses. As said earlier, Tuesday I had my non-Chinese or non-Chinese mainland starter pens. That was an interesting video, so I picked my top 5, and it's the start of a bit of a series. Friday was my half-time report, so that was just how I was going on with the 6 pens I started the month with. And then yesterday on Tricky Little Questions, I did a video about why we need passwords and what alternates are there. And that's where I was talking about passkeys. So up to now, very, very summarising it very, very quickly. To log into an online service, we need a username, which is usually our email address. We need a password. Most online services now offer something called two-factor authentication. What that is they'll send you a message either through, some kind of authenticator app or an SMS, and you have to enter that code in. If they come in via SMS, you've got to be careful because SMSs can be spoofed easily, so other people could actually see it. Just be aware of that. But there's this new thing that a lot of services are starting to use, which is called a passkey, and it's all got to do with really complex maths. But it does away with the idea of passwords completely and the two-factor authentication. So what you do is you obviously still need your account name, but then you use this passkey, which might be something you scan like a QR code, and it all goes into details, but it's to do with some really complex maths as to how it keeps it really secure. Coming up this week, so today, this afternoon, I'm just going to fetch this out again. This is the Fremantle handmade pen. I've got a fountain pen focus video on this. I say it's a kit pen, but this material is really nice. The guy who made it, he was saying that what this is he's gone out and it's various, like rocks and stuff that is found. He's ground it all up and made it into a resin. Tuesday, carrying on the series, will be starter pens from China. In there, I've tried to limit it to one pen per manufacturer. Apart from Jinhao, there's two of them are from Jinhao, purely because I couldn't not, because they're two really nice pens. Friday, I've got my first impressions of the Endless Regalia paper. So that's the Endless Recorder, and it's using the Regalia paper. So I give my thoughts on that. And I compare it to the Endless Recorder that is with the Tomoe River 68 GSM paper. Saturday on my Tricky Little Questions channel, it will be a quiz time. I believe it's a photo quiz, so there's 10 photos, you've got to guess what they are. And then next Sunday, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be doing a video where I look at cheap Jinhao pens. Because when I was doing that starter pen, there were so many Jinhao ones I could have picked. So I put them into their own video. I say it's only 5. It's my top 5. And again, limited to pens that I've got. I do have, a number of other ones that have been ordered and snaffled by the wife, which could have been in there. So I've limited to only pens that I've actually got and using. Book of the week. So again, carrying on with my Terry Pratchett reading. So I finished Mort. Again, funny, I love the books. They're so full of humour. Mort, it was focusing on the character Death. I think Death, Granny Weatherwax, and maybe Nanny Ogg. They're my 3 favourite ones. I really like it. I'd forgotten how it ended. As I say, I'm rereading all these. I don't know why, but I'd forgotten the ending. And so that was a little bit of a surprise. Finished that about Wednesday, I think it was, and now I'm reading Sorcery. So this one is set with a wizard, so Unseen University. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but really interesting, lots of fun. They're books that you want to keep reading. And this book, as well as being the Unseen University, it fetches back a Rincewind, who's one of the first characters. Let's jump back into the comments. So Blonde Scales 1, Blurple. Blurple. Chaz, ladies and gents, got to run, take my little girl out for ice cream. It's a pleasure to have met everyone. Sorry for talking so much. Don't ever apologise. That's what I want. This is the whole idea of this. It's a way for me to really get to know people and interact with them. So I love the comments, really do. I could spend the whole time without even needing to do that, just going through, really talking with people. Be happy enough to do that. Really, to me, this is all about chatting and getting to know each other. Ricardo, have a nice day, Chaz. Enjoy the ice cream, Blonde Skills. Again, I'm going back to my youth. When I lived in Scarborough, which was a seaside resort, loads of different ice cream shops, and the ice cream makers, they themselves weren't from Italy, but I think most of them, it was either their parents or grandparents. They were originally Italian, and I believe they actually came over during the Second World War, or just before the Second World War. The two I remember, these Pasitos and Alonzi, they both had different shops selling ice cream. I used to love their ice creams. I used to work in an amusement arcade not far from one, and every lunchtime I would go and buy, it was about that big and about that round, full of ice cream, and just sit and eat that for my lunch. Chaz, thank you. Ricardo, cheers, Blonde Scales 1. Marie, the new Jinhao 9019. Oh, I hate this thing. Here we go. That's better. You know, YouTube's really doing my head in at the moment. The new Jinhao 9019 looks interesting. Anyone tried it? I've seen JG3's review. I've seen a couple of other people who reviewed it, but I haven't watched it because I watched JG3. I usually find he hits the nail on the head for me. It is on my list for next time that I do an order from China. I like the look of it. I like the size of it. I don't know if he's on here. One of the viewers, Paul, he suggested maybe it might be similar to the Ranga Model 5. So I think that'd be interesting to see. Ricardo, I will be going as well. Well, thank you, Ricardo, for your time. I know I'm trying to get these down to 45 minutes, but I'm struggling with that. Chris, still have a soft spot for Rincewind. Yeah, I think because he's really the first character. He's the one that gets a lot of people in. I'm liking this one. So in this sorcery, he's essentially he's got the Arch Chancellor's hat, and it's the adventure that they're going to try and avoid something that's going on at the university. Very interesting. Let's just give chance for this to refresh. Just give it a second. I can hear the washing machine, so the wife's up. My wife loves washing. I would say there's not a day goes by when there's not at least one, if not two, loads of washing done in this house. And when you consider there's only 3 of us living here. I haven't seen any more comments coming through. I'm just going to see if I can somehow refresh this. I don't know. Is there a refresh button? Let's try going between the two. Top chat and live chat. Oh, there we go. I've found some more. Blonde Scales reading the Hunger Games prequel. I've not read the Hunger Games books. I've read the Allegiant. Is it the last one in the series? I've read those ones. Watch the films. Marilyn, nice to know you, Chaz. Chris. Oh, and I sent an email to a different address you have linked. Yeah, that Garry one is still fine. That's actually my personal one. What I've done is I've set up a YouTube one, but I still use the Garry one, so it doesn't matter. I have seen it, Chris. I have read it. I just haven't got round to replying to it. I said most of my time this week, as I said right early on, I've been working on this API, and I want to get it working. So unfortunately, my emails have grown up a little bit there. Chaz, thanks to Miss Marilyn Darling. Teresa, reading Elon Musk by Ashley Vance. Just wanted to try and understand how he thinks. Yeah, I think a lot of it at the moment, for what I see with Elon Musk, it's a shame what he's doing to Twitter, you know. But I mean, when you think he started off, was it PayPal? And then he's got his SpaceX. I think there's two sides to what's going on. And yeah, I think that'd be interesting to know better. So I'd love to know after you finish reading it what your thoughts are. Chaz, good night, all folks. Ricardo, past 2:30 in the morning. Yeah, this is a problem with the time. This is what obviously my family's in the UK, and it's the time difference, which can be quite difficult. I know it sounds odd, but it's actually easier, the time difference between here and the States, because I think from here to the Pacific coast, is it? It's a 12-hour time difference. So 8 a.m. here is 8 p.m. there. Lost the mouse, there we go. Will Hodge, believe the 9019 and X159 of the number 8 nibs. Yeah, I think that's what JG3 was saying. I've got an X159. The nib on that is all right, but it's only a fine tip. I've struggled to get hold of a medium, but I have seen that on the 9019 you can actually get a medium now. Chris Robinson's got the Jinhao Dadao Dadao. Don't know how to pronounce it. Dadao, I'm going to say 9019 on the way. Yes, Chris, Dadao. That word beginning with D. Tom, have the 9019 but haven't inked it yet. It'd be interesting to know what you think about that once you've inked it. Blonde Skills. Yeah, as long as we keep chattering, you'll never get the time down. To be honest, I don't mind if we don't. I think this interaction is absolutely gorgeous. I really do. Miss Marilyn, darling, thanks. That was fun. We'll see you next week. Inertia 4. When it comes to paper, I love my Midori MD A5 notebook and my Papermind. I haven't heard of Papermind A5 notebook with Mitsubishi bank paper. Awesome paper. I think I've got some bank paper, but it's by an Italian one called Fabriano. I think it might be a bank type paper or similar to that. Where Miss Marilyn Darling is, 6:42 p.m. So what's it, 9? Oh, got to do the maths now. 6:42, 7:42, 8:42, 9:42, 10:42, 11:42, 12:42, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 10 hours time difference. I'm not very good at date maths, I've got to be honest. Someone's looking for a good green. Private Reserve Spearmint and Avocado are gorgeous greens. Do you know, I would buy that first one just for the name, Spearmint. I like mints, but I love spearmint mints. Used to get them easily in the UK, a bit harder to get here. Blonde Skills 8:42, so there we've got an 11-hour time difference. 11, I think. Zip2 and PayPal. I didn't know about the Zip2. I knew you had PayPal. Will Hodge, bye to all. Let me see if there's any more. I think I've worked out how to get through these. There we go. If you have an international cartridge pen, the Private Reserve Sampler Pack is an awesome trial of a bunch of good inks. Can't talk. Gonna have to finish soon. My cup's empty. I know, I leave the tea bag in. I know I shouldn't. Okay, let me do one last refresh of the chats. Okay, we got a couple more. Blonde Scales 1 is Central Time Zone. Right. Thank you all for your time today. Again, we're up to an hour and 15 minutes. I do love this chat. I love if you can keep coming back. I really do like it because to me, this is one of the beauties of what's going on with YouTube or how we're using YouTube is to be able to talk to each other and really build, I'm not going to say community, but build up. Oh, I've just really messed my camera up there, haven't I? Let me hopefully get that back. Got a couple more comments. Where's my mouse? Have a great week, everybody. Yeah, have a pen inked with the spearmint for Teresa. So thank you all. Have a glorious week. I look forward to talking to you all again, really do. I say I'll put my email in here if anybody wants to send me an email. Just be aware, it may take me a little bit of time to get back to it because until I get this damned API sorted, that's really taking all my mental energy. So thank you all, and I'll talk